Okay, so error, we got something here, the target server failed to respond. uh, Response data, what it returned for us. It seems correct. Let me run one more, or let me check my internet connection once. Okay, so now it's perfect. Okay, I just reconnected my connection and it looks good. Okay, let's delete this, at least this one sign off, which is not required for us. So cool, now we are at this page. Okay, now I'll bring the concept of controller, right? So let us assume that first I'll talk about simple controller. Okay, simple controller in the sense, if you click on all the requests, okay, you are getting something like here, simple controller. Did you observe any time till now? We are just putting down our request after recording from test script recorder back to thread group, right? That's what we are doing. But if you click on that request, okay, in this request there are I mean set of other requests as well. This is a parent controller under which we have our requests. Did you observe this till now? Okay, so we are just opening something like this and we are saying these are our requests. Okay, but we are not concentrating on what is this. This looks like something folder where we open, we are getting these requests. Okay, this is a block. That's what I defined, right, in my last session. Basically controllers are a block, but there are different type of controllers where you can manipulate your block. Simple controller is, the name itself says, it's very simple. There is no manipulation on that, straightforward. It acts as a block where we can store a set of requests into it. That's it. So all these are simple controllers only, right? So the definition of simple controller says it consists of set of requests. Yes, open it and you are saying as request in two, there are two requests here. So that's what simple controller means. And without noticing, we are working for simple controller from last few lectures, right? But we didn't talk about this word, so this is actually means. Okay, now if you open test script recorder, I told you in my initial class that I'll be talking about this later. We are saying that when we are grouping, I am asking you to put each group in a new controller. Okay, that is the reason we are getting all these in simple controllers. Now we got the point. Whenever you are recording, if you just go with do not group samplers option, you will not see any controllers. But whenever I select, I am selecting put each group in new controller. Okay, if you do that, they will be stored in separate blocks, right? So that's what simple controller says. Okay, this is the base one about what I'm talking. So now let's see what all other controllers we have. Okay, so thread group, add, logic controller. Okay, these are different type of controllers we have in Jmeter, right? So there are few, as I told, this is vast and everything will be used for some specific purpose, not only for web based, for Oracle SQL and file transfer protocols, web services. It all depends on the perception, but we will see the few most important controllers where you use in our real time, right? So let's start first with uh, loop controller. Okay, now cruise and reservation, these two I want to put in a loop. Okay, let me create, I'll right click on the cruise and say insert parent. Okay, so because this should controller should come top on it, and when I say insert parent, it's asking what logic controller you want as a parent. Then you go and select loop controller, right? So this is the loop controller under which you have Mercury cruise. Now you need both cruise and reservation request should go into this loop. Okay, because the requirement for us is, so our client wants don't log in multiple times and don't sign up multiple times. Just do it once, but once you log in, just rigorously test cruise and reservation pages, because these are the most important pages and we should look for performance. Okay, that's what requirement. Now if you use just thread group here, it login also done every time. Okay, login also does 100 times, right? So you don't want that. You want only 2 requests to happen that. So if that is the case, just use loop controller, and Mercury Cruise is right now in this loop controller because I right clicked and just added parent. Now let's move reservation also into it. Just drag and drop into it. Yep. Okay. Now in this controller we have both reservation and cruise. If you close, both will be inside. So click on that and say run for 50 times. Okay, so what's the situation here is, login once, do this loop, run this for 50 times and then sign off. Okay, so that's what this controller says. And let's go results tree and let me show you how it happens. See that it's logged in one, but cruise reservation, so these are keep on executing. If you observe, cruise reservation, see, this will execute 50 times and finally it goes for sign off. Okay, so here is the where you use the concept of loop controller. Fine. So finally you will see logout page. This will keep on executing for 50 times. I think, is it done? No, it's still going on. Okay, let's see the other controller without wasting much time. Okay, let's be quick and learn something new in each and every minute. So now we go for while controller. Okay, so before I'll just results tree. I think execution is done. Okay, it's still going on. I'm stopping it because it has to run, loop has to run 50 times, right? I am forcibly stopping. Okay, now I'll change the controller. Right click on loop controller, say add, and select while controller. Okay, where it is added for us, it's not required, right? Change controller logic while. Okay, cool. Now it went off. We need to delete this. Okay, so while controller expects that until unless you provide some condition here, till that condition is true, loop keep on continuing. Okay, so you might give any condition here. If you say declare any variable here, okay, that variable declaring and validating that I will talk on bean shell scripting module. There you will actually come the scenarios about declaring variable and validating that. Okay, right now let's go with true. Okay, if the condition is true, the loop keep on continuing until unless the condition set to false. Okay, I think you all people all know the basic usage of while controller. If you know OOPS concepts or basic Java or C++ or any other language, the usage of while is till the condition is true, loop will continue. Okay, if I keep this true, the loop will goes to infinite. Okay, so you can see that here, same thing, loop will, okay, keep on running until unless it is false. Okay, this will go for infinite loop. And so I mean to say here is, you can use while controller and define a proper condition here, okay, to make sure it works. So this condition is based upon what you are defining and your previous request. Okay, so let me stop this and right. So the next controller I need to talk about, so basically all will be on the same lines, just the basic difference you will see. One is for while loop, and if you see, this is if loop, where if the condition is satisfied, go into it, if not, skip the loop. Okay, this is not a loop, this is if satisfied, this executes only once. Okay, for example, I'll select if controller. Okay, it again got here. Okay, let me right click, change controller, logic controller, if to. Now okay, I'll do one thing, I'll define a variable. Let's discuss this topic here itself. In test plan, go to the test plan level and say add. Okay, these are user defined variables, basically where you can give your variable. Okay, I'll write something called store and value is 1. Okay, I am declaring a variable called store in test case level, and I am storing value 1 into it, right? Now if controller, if the condition is true, then only these two will execute, if not, skip. Right now I'll say 4 greater than 7. Okay, condition is false, right? Okay, I'll also talk about that variable declaring here. First we will see the false condition. 4 greater than 7, it is false, right? So mercury reservation and mercury cruise should not execute, because control comes here and see if that is false, then don't execute. If it's true, then only it should execute. Basically if condition. I hope you all are familiar with what if else loop does. Home page, login, and you can see sign off, right? That's it. It did not execute these two because we are setting a false condition here. Okay, and you can also set I have defined variable, right? Okay, store, sorry, this is a variable equals to 1. Okay, this dollar, okay, don't confuse of defining variable, why I am using dollar and all. I'll clearly talk this in data driven testing module. Okay, we will drive the data from config file. There I'll clearly explain what this dollar and why we need to write like this. Okay, how we define variable. So I'm just making sure that store is a variable and value is 1. Okay, the variable value will be printed if you use dollar and braces. The 1 equals to 1. Okay, this is true, right? Check this checkbox. So it should execute now. Okay, this condition is true, so reservation and cruise should execute. Let's see. Okay, it did not execute, right? Login, it did not went. Okay, let's check. I think there is some syntax error. Just need to check. Store. I need to, oh sorry, I need to uncheck it. So we should uncheck it. Sorry, I checked it, right? So this will turn as variable expression again. Some scripting language if you are using, you have to check this. So right now we are just validating whether the store variable value equals to 1 or not. Okay, we are just cross comparing. 1 equals to 1 because the value in it is 1. So condition is true, it should go inside and should execute, right? Okay, let's view results tree, and this time it should run, I guess. Yeah, happened, right? Reservation, cruise, all this happened because if condition is true, true equals to 1 equals to 1. Before we have given 4 greater than 7, which is false. That's the reason this got not executed. Okay, so you might be wondered where I actually use all this in real time. There will be the situation where for example, take the banking account. If the user have an access of, I mean user have the privileges to this is credit card payment section. Okay, first user need to have credit card to pay it. This will check whether the user is having valid credit card, then only we will run those credit card payment requests. If you don't give this, and if you simply run all the time, if by data driving all the accounts every time, if suddenly one account does not have the a credit card feature, then on running this request script will fail. Okay, because without that feature these two requests will not get activated. So something like that, some condition you write, thereafter you execute those. Basically about how you do in your scripting, if you write if else loop the same way. Okay, that's about if controller.